And we keep things rolling on this busy edition of the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for keeping us a part of your day right here on WCPT 820 AM Heartland Signal and WSBC 1240 AM Chicago. Make sure you subscribe to us, like us on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle if you want to check out the video version of any of our past segments and interviews here on the show. And this story hit the newswire almost a week and a half so back. And while I have been obsessed with this story, while it has been something that I've wanted to talk about over the last few weeks, it really has not gotten a lot of traction. There has not been a lot of conversation about this. And I thought, what better place than my own platform to just kind of talk it out with each and every one of you. And this is from Awful Announcing. Mike Florio continues to call out NFLPA silence over alleged collusion reports. Presumably, and this is by Sean Keeley, presumably a report about potential collusion between a professional sports league and its players association to keep players' salaries down might elicit the kind of breathless coverage they make movies about years later. When it comes to Pablo Torre and Pro Football's Talks, Mike Florio's, quote, bombshell report last week, this was a few weeks back now, about the NFL and the NFLPA allegedly doing just that, not so much. So this is a story that stems back from Pablo Torre Finds Out, which is a great show on YouTube. I suggest you guys check it out. They do some crazy investigations, some crazy stories, and this was one of those. I personally am a big fan of Mike Florio as well. I mean, I love a lot of the NFL insiders. I mean, obviously, some of my good friends, some of the people I look up to in this industry are in the football media world. And he's one of those people that, while maybe not always right, is a fixture in the community. So when these two came out with this story, I was all in on it. At the very least, my attention was all in on it. After the duo broke their story, which uncovered evidence that heavily implied the NFL had instructed its 32 franchises to collude to keep salaries down, the initial reaction from other media outlets, including those with TV partnerships with the league, was muted. ESPN took its sweet time getting a story up, while Fox Sports appeared to ignore it altogether. Florio and Torre summarized that, quote, no one wanted to rock the boat too hard when it came to America's biggest money-making sports entity. Meanwhile, they continue to extrapolate the possibilities and assumptions from evidence as silence settled around them. A week later, Florio isn't ready to let go of the lack of enthusiasm from their media colleagues who haven't picked up the ball and run with it. Quote, it's been 6 days since Pablo Torre's podcast episode regarding the collusion ruling landed, Florio wrote on PFT Monday, and quote, very few people in and around the NFL are saying anything about it. Florio noted that pretty much every entity and person involved in their reporting has refused to comment publicly. The only agent willing to go on the record with him was Pete Sheffer, who provided a statement to PFT. Quote, it's clear the arbiter confirmed teams colluded against guaranteed money, something we as agents have known they have done since the advent of free agency, Schaefer said. The real question has always been, how do we create and force change? Quote, for over 2 decades, the agent community has urged the NFLPA in CBA negotiations to eliminate the NFL's unilaterally imposed guarantee funding rule on guaranteed player contracts, the biggest obstacles to securing more fully guaranteed contracts. Now, with this ruling, we have leverage. It's time to act. Let's go. And the funding rule. Florio also shared an anonymous quote from another agent. I've got mouths to feed, said the agent. These effers don't forget things. Short of Florio, Torre, or different reporters did get around to find out more examples or information. It stands to reason the silence around the reporting will continue well into the 2025 season, when the presumptions is that it will essentially be forgotten. You can check out the entire report from Mike Florio and Pablo Torre over at the YouTube channel Pablo Torre Finds Out. This article over at Awful Announcing. Mike Florio continues to call out NFLPA silence over alleged collusion report. So that's a lot, and I wanted to talk about this because there is something interesting going on in not just mainstream media, not just news media, not just conservative or progressive leaning. There is a lack of trust, lack of integrity that's going around from the consumer and the provider. The fact that ESPN waited so long to have this story be reported on, that Fox News ignored it, that we haven't heard anything from CBS, is them saying it without saying it out loud, right? That they're not going to cover this. They're not going to shine a ugly light on the cash cow. Now, this is a story that you would think anywhere, right? If it was Walmart, your local business, that if you found out that the people above and the people that were there to represent you were colluding together to make sure you didn't get paid as much as you can, that's a huge story. The fact that it's the most popular entertainment entity in the entire country and it's still not a big deal is crazy. And I think part of it is not just that we don't trust the media, that people, consumers, no longer trust in them, that this validates it, that reporters, journalists, highly acclaimed ones, bring up this report in a new multimedia way, right? On YouTube, in video format, with social media clips, and it's still ignored. That's why nobody trusts ESPN. That's why the consumer doesn't trust the four-letter network or Fox Sports. That's why the average voter doesn't trust MSNBC or Fox or OAN or CNN. You name your acronym, your three-letter network. This is what's going on, is this type of story. And the fact that the NFL players themselves aren't up in arms about this, where their lifespan in the league is 2.5 years, if you're lucky to make it to that elusive, luxurious second contract, this is an insane story. It's not just that the owners are trying to screw over the players. I get it. In a capitalistic society, in the country we live in as we celebrate Independence Day this weekend, I get what country we live in. I get the machine that we live in, that we work for. It's a capitalistic society. The people with the most money want to keep that money and they don't want you to have it. You can do the same thing in the NFL, NBA, WNBA. Your job, it doesn't matter. How can they not be upset about that they're not getting paid? I don't blame the owners for not wanting to pay them. But how is it possible that we are not hearing an uproar from these players? And I don't expect fans to care. Not when they can't afford groceries or the tickets to go to the game. But one wrong doesn't make another right. Both things can be true at the same time. That it is a disgrace to see how the collusion actually happens, how it's right there in front of us, how we even see it. They don't even hide it half the time. And nobody cares. I could see, though, I'm not here to judge you, the average sports fan. Man, woman, teenager, lifelong, newly jumped on, not going to judge you on it. But the fact that the major entities that cover the damn sports, that are partners with the sports, are covering this. There was a time, not too long ago, no matter what end of the political spectrum you were, that you counted on the idea that journalists, real journalists, who, by the way, they're not the ones being hired anymore by these entertainment companies, not news outlets, entertainment companies. There was a time when they hired real journalists that would be breaking this down minute by minute, detail by detail. Whether it was on SportsCenter or whether it was on your favorite War Room show on Fox or your favorite debate show on CNN. Real journalists. We don't have that anymore because it's been systematically destroyed and dismantled for entertainment purposes, for cult of personality, for fear of a loud minority. And this is the outcome of it. That big major stories get ignored. So it's not just that, crying poor for the rich. No, first of all, we know a lot of these dudes aren't rich. The major stars are, right? Like, it's just like anything else when there's a big discrepancy of pay. It's more the disheartening fact of news stories getting buried. That there is so much bad, not just in the entertainment world, obviously, not just the sports world, but so much bad in the world in 2025 that major news stories from any genre can just kind of be swept under the rug, and it doesn't matter. The news cycle will move so fast. There'll be another abhorrent thing that happens, and we move on. So I just want everybody to take a second that we're moving on from the sport that I love to cover, that helps provide for my family, that I take entertainment from, that you take entertainment from, that has created an ecosystem for all of us as fans and consumers and able to make money from. I just wanted to take a second to understand what we're putting on the table right now. That a story came out from reputable journalists who have nothing to gain. We've obviously seen have nothing to gain from this story coming out. Just told you that not only the owners, who obviously makes sense, are trying to undercut and not pay their players, so is the NFLPA. Just think about that for a second. Let's acknowledge that. I'm not telling you not to watch at the end of the month the first preseason game. I'm not telling you to not watch the Hall of Fame game. I'm not telling you not to buy the tickets, buy the jerseys, be in a fantasy league, have your pick six, go to your favorite establishment, have a fun Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Netflix, Amazon, CBS, Fox, NFL Network, ESPN. I'm not telling you to stop any of that because I won't. But I also will not ignore this story, and I will be honest with myself in my hypocrisy. The question is, will NFL fans be able to look in the mirror and acknowledge their own hypocrisies? Because I'm trying to myself. But I know come that first Sunday of the NFL season, I'm going to have my little Bears flag and Caleb Williams jersey here. So it is the complexity of being a sports fan, but it's our responsibility to be as informed as we can be. We got a whole lot left on this edition of the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch on this 4th of July weekend here in the United States, celebrating the Independence Day weekend. And while I may be disheartened and sad for a lot of things that are happening in this country, while I may be worried about a lot of things that are happening in this country, I do care about everybody in this country. And I do believe it can be the best country in the world. And just like the NFL, as much bad as there is, there's still so much I love about it. So hopefully we can all enjoy a safe and happy holiday weekend. We keep it tuned in to the Sports Cubicle on WCPT 820 AM Heartland Signal, WSBC 1240 AM Chicago. Like us, subscribe to us, share the videos over on the YouTube channel at the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.